Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very honored being here in this institute. Yeah, now we have the section from the company side. Sorry for bringing no slides. Of course, it's necessary that I say some words to the Bosch company. I'm pretty sure not everybody is familiar with that. The company has more or less 300,000 people, 50 billion turnover, and is in the area for, as a car supplier. We have power tools, we have machinery and packaging and household appliances. Perhaps someone has a drilling machine or a dishwasher, something like that. The important thing is, we have heard today a lot of stock exchanges, things like that. You must know the company has not a foundation, so-called Robert Bosch Foundation. No, it is owned by the foundation. That makes the foundation to one of the biggest foundations in Europe. So you see, there are not so many foundations with a 50 billion company. Yeah. The foundation, we have, let me say, more or less 50 years, and within this 50 years, we spent more or less 1.3 billion euro to the society via projects. We have each year more or less 700 up to 800 projects, and in total for these 50 years, we had now around 20,000 projects, and we had our anniversary this year. A few figures according to R&D, because that is, in my opinion, very, very important in connection with sustainability. The R&D figure of Bosch is close to 10%, and we spend close to 5 billion a year in the R&D section. Another thing is that we have more or less 43,000 people in this R&D area. And if you have the landscape in your mind, we are busy in 80 different places with our R&D people. More or less we have 300 locations worldwide, but 80 within the R&D area. And that is relevant because it's not possible to make products, let me say, more or less in the houses of Germany. It's necessary to do so in connection with all the different areas of the world where you are interested in doing business. Some words according to the term sustainability. I will not make an explanation of that, but for me it's very, very important to say that sustainability is a journey, a very long one, and in my opinion, and that's only my personal opinion, up to now we do not have a company which is sustainable or a product what is sustainable, because that is necessary that we create that more or less in the future. And as I said, we need a lot of time to get there. What is, for example, the task of the company area? The companies, they have two different, more or less, fields for their actions. One is inside of the company, so to speak, inside of the fence. And that means to be more efficient. Efficient means doing less bad. We have not the situation only doing good. Efficiency means doing less bad. And at the very end of efficiency, perhaps we have this no impact on the ecological side. At the moment, we try to do less, yeah? Less emissions in the direction of the air in the direction of the water, less waste, and so on and so forth. And the second part is the employees, the workplaces connected with labor rights, with human rights, all that stuff. And the important thing for all this workforce is to get the people you are interested in and keep them. That is the important thing, because we have this little war for people we are interested in. And the outside part of the company are the products on the one hand side, and you must have in mind that if you are designing a product, you set more or less 80% of the impact to the environment. If you have the design for the product, then it goes out, you will paint it and create it, and at the very end you can select the waste. But all the processes you need are fixed. So the important thing is the design stage. Very, very important. Another thing is the supply chain. We heard about that from the E.ON company. And as an example, Bosch, we have in the tier 1 area of suppliers, we have a number of 200,000. And if you have 200,000 suppliers in the tier 1, you can imagine what the tier network, how big that is. Yeah? And to come up with all these, let me say, assessments or audits and supplier improvement and all that, we need a lot of time and a lot of effort if we come across with this 200,000. So we have just started. That is what I have to say. What are the challenges? We have heard about this climate change aspect. We have this human right aspect. We have poverty. We had heard about water and so on and so forth. If we have a look on Bosch, then Bosch is very much connected with the item energy. And that is the reason why we have energy in mind, and we have set an energy goal for the company. We have not only an energy goal in the sustainability area. Of course, we have a lot of financial indicators, as all other companies have. But in addition, we have only 3 further targets. One is CO2. A second is accidents, because it's very relevant. And the third is women in certain stages. And the climate change aspect is very, very interesting also for the company from a financial point of view. Not only for the climate change, and that is the important thing. If you start with a sustainability area or items or aspects, for example, if I would talk within the company according to this biodiversity stuff, it would be extremely complicated to convince people within the company. If we talk about climate change and energy, it's much more easier. Nevertheless, you do a lot for biodiversity if you do that. But in the first step, it's necessary to take items the people in the company can understand. And everybody can talk about energy, because everybody has an energy bill at home, has an invoice, get energy, needs energy, and the same is with accidents. It's not difficult to talk with all the people, from the supervisors to the shop floor people to the workers, according to accidents, because everybody understands that we are not interested in accidents. So that is the very important thing to start with. If we talk about this area for sustainability with all the ecological aspects, the social, and so on, then we have, in my map, I have more or less 40 different topics. If I would come up in the company with 40 different indicators, like the GI, you have heard that from the Autogrill colleague, he comes, then people would be crazy in the company. Nobody will follow you, yeah? And nobody would be interested in talking with me. So it's necessary to have only a few indicators, but valid for the whole company, not only written in a sustainability report. No, it's absolutely necessary that you have the tone of the top. The CEO says, I am interested in, and these are the goals of the company, and you can read it, and everybody in the company knows that the board members are interested in that. Otherwise, you have no chance to convince your community in your company. If we talk about the products itself, we have heard that your point was coal. For us, we have a lot of products connected with efficiency. For example, all this car stuff to get or to lower the rate for gasoline, for diesel, and so on and so forth. So 60% of our turnover is connected with the car industry. So it's very, very important to do that, and also this storage stuff, this e-mobility stuff, and so on and so forth. And if we take the figures, then we have more or less 50% of our R&D is connected with this technology and products that protect the environment and conserve resources, 50%. And if we take the rate of the turnover, it's close to 40%. So you see, we have the advantage that we have a lot of products in this direction. And it's so important that the board member says, we are interested in a bigger number of this sort of products. And our slogan within Bosch is products invented for life. So that helps to have the discussion with the design departments on worldwide level to make the right products. I said to you that we have a goal or a target for CO2. We have within the company a 20% target according to value added, because that is the figure we have within the company on each location level. We have no turnover on location level. On corporate, of course, on business units, of course, but not on the level of the factory or the stage. And so we have this internal figure, and for the outside world, we have this 20% rate, and we are interested in that in the year 2020 in comparison to the year 2007. So at the moment we are on track. We have more or less 16% reached, and we are pretty sure that we will get this 20%. But if you are on the outside world, outside of Bosch, then you say, okay, you have your relative goal, of course, but what about the absolute figure? And the important thing is that within the Bosch group, at the moment, we have the advantage to come down with the absolute figure of CO2 close to 5%. And if you combine that with more or less 15% more turnover, we are close to 20% in addition. But that is a mathematical thing, okay? But nevertheless, if you have 15% more turnover, 15% more employees, then typically you would have 15% more CO2. And at the moment we have, according to 2007, 5% less. So, but nevertheless, we have at the moment 2.5 million tons of CO2. That is the aspect. And we are very much engaged to bring that down. And as I said, it's absolutely necessary that your board of directors, your CEO says, I am interested in, that everybody in the company can see that. That was my little speech to you, and I'm happy if you would have some questions.